Hey 101ers, welcome to week 8. Module 8 is upon us. Congrats for reaching our second months. We're at our second month already, just like that. As usual, we open up with our punny joke of the week, and that is this one. Why do bees have sticky hair? Because they use honeycombs. Eh? Okay, look at our calendar here. Module 8, let's look at our signposts. So last week we started textual analysis. We had a corresponding lesson and a worksheet to go along with that lesson. Now is going to be a time to apply what we learned about moving from denotation, which is surface level, to moving to deeper level meaning, which is connotation. And we are going to have a corresponding essay that will be called Entertainment as Political. As you can see, the brainstorm will be due by this Sunday at the end of this module. So without further ado, let's dive right into our Canvas page. Here we go. So the first thing that we have is another opportunity to conduct some textual analysis. So check this out here. And it's going to be exactly with what we did with the posters that we were looking at. Remember, we did it with the propaganda posters. We did it with the satire article by The Onion. Now we're going to do it by a cartoon of Dr. Seuss, which is cool because it's an opportunity, now that we're older, to return to something that we would see as kids. And now that we've grown up some more, we can see a lot of the nuances within Dr. Seuss's work. Particularly, we're going to look at the Sneetches cartoon. So, number one, take out a sheet of paper and a pen and just just write down some things that you notice. Anything from the lyrics to the colors to what's happening in the plot to what's the conflict, what's the resolution, maybe what's the name of the characters, what's a line that stands out to you from the lyrics, just anything at all. So just write it down. And then what you're going to do, the idea is that based on what you observed from your notes, you're going to try to move to deeper level meaning. So, after you've noticed some details, which remember, any details that don't have any analysis yet, that's denotation, right? So in order to move on to connotation, consider, so what is at stake? Who's affected? Meaning of symbols, meaning of characters, what do they represent? This is the main thing, indirect suggestion. So what something indirectly represents or suggests, so that now is an opportunity to really move into the deeper level meaning. Also, think about, who's the one that is glorified? Who's the one that is vilified? The one that is glorified, look at just what ideas and values they're representing. Therefore, those are the values that the writer is glorifying in their piece, in this case, Dr. Seuss and his Sneetches. Who's the one that is vilified? What values does that individual represent? Therefore, what are the values that are being vilified? So just a little bit to help your thinking, because ideally you want to follow this in yellow. This is actually a wonderful example for how to write a thesis for this one. Let's see if I can close this. Oh, minimize. There we go. Okay, so look at what I have highlighted in yellow. So number one, you're looking at this cartoon, right? After watching it and writing your notes, what's the larger message or theme of your artifact? In other words, what's the ultimate takeaway from this cartoon? Now that you have looked at some of the things that you wrote down in your notes and what they could potentially indirectly suggest, right? So we're using the same knowledge of what we learned in our textual analysis lecture. It's exactly the same. In fact, it's a continuation and a further opportunity for application. Okay, so what's the larger message or theme of your artifact? How does your artifact reflect this? That's important, because it's not enough to just say that the cartoon reflects whatever the message is, whatever the message is that you think this cartoon is about. You have to, after that, say, first of all, what the message is, then say that the cartoon reflects it, and then to answer the how, tell me, is it through the lyrics? Is it through the representation of who the characters are and what they stand for? Is it through the lyrics? Sorry, I said lyrics. Is it through the colors? Is it through the symbolism? You tell me, just what is it that you see in the cartoon that is taking you to that conclusion that it's about whatever you are saying that it's about, right? And then the implications. So the so what, why is this larger message important? So what, right? And then connect, if there's any connections to real life, this is important because it connects to our real life society in this way. And I have a little example for you. This is not for the Sneetches, but it's actually for the Lorax. So let's pretend you were doing it on the Lorax, but check it out. In the story entitled The Lorax by Dr. Seuss, the writer forwards a perspective of eco-criticism. Through this view, the ideal of industry is vilified by way of the antagonist, who is known as the Onceler. Conversely, the ideal of nature conservation is celebrated, as embodied by the story's protagonist, known as the Lorax. This message for the importance of nature conservation is just as significant today as it was back in 1971 when Dr. Seuss wrote this story. So check it out. Look at what we did. We said what the larger message was of the Lorax. We were saying that it's a larger message, essentially saying that it is important to conserve nature, to conserve our surroundings, our environment, right? And at the same time, it was being weary of industry and something like deforestation and things like that. So in this hypothetical example of a thesis, notice how I made it clear just what the source was, in this case the Lorax, but now you're going to do it for the Sneetches. So you introduce the source, then you say what the message is, the larger takeaway, and then how is it in the story that you are seeing that takeaway? Like, what is it from the story that leads you to say that? In this example, I'm saying, okay, well, the protagonist, the good guy, is the Lorax. The antagonist, the bad guy, is the Onceler, right? So I was looking at what they represented to kind of bring this out about in this story. It's a message promoting and celebrating the importance of nature conservation and just helping out like our environment and things like that, right? So then I say how I see it, and then this one, right? Answer the so what question. So here's why it's important. Actually, that's something that we're missing here. Notice we're actually missing here the why this message is important. That's something that I had to plug in here. But say why the message is important once you've drawn it out, and then any connections to real life. So from that real message, what does it remind you of from real life? And that can actually add to why it's important anyway, right? So play with it, have fun. Remember, you're just writing a thesis here, and then you are replying to at least one classmate's post since it's a discussion board. And actually, I have good news for you. Exactly what we just did with the Lorax, exactly what we did with the propaganda posters, with everything that we did in our textual analysis lecture is, surprise, surprise, what we are going to do in our next essay, Entertainment as Political. And I want to make a note. You can absolutely choose this cartoon, the Lorax, if you want to continue the work that you started here in your thesis. Absolutely, you can do it on it. Okay, so let's take a look at it. First of all, when we say entertainment as political, we are not compulsorily saying that you have to choose an artifact that pertains to government. When we say political, it's just an interchangeable term for ideology, okay? An ideology is just a value, it's just a message, it's just an idea that is relayed, okay? So first, yes, absolutely, you can choose it on this Lorax cartoon, which is the thesis that you started in this discussion board. You could choose it and continue forward with it. But let's take a look at what this assignment is. Through our look at semiotics, first of all, we'll let you know what semiotics is. Semiotics is just the study of signs and symbols and their meaning, essentially, which is what we do when we deconstruct a cultural artifact, such as a movie, a cartoon, a commercial, a music video, song lyrics, a TV episode, anything like that. So Through our look at semiotics, we've seen that entertainment can indeed be political and carry with it its own connotations. When we say political, again, all we are saying is that cultural artifacts carry with them deeper messages, deeper ideas, values that are forwarded, right, and celebrated, and carry with it its own connotations, remember? So indirect suggestions. Now is your chance to contribute to the conversation with a cultural analysis of your own. Whoa, now's your own turn. So that's like carrying forward what we started with our textual analysis lecture. So here's the task. Write an essay that examines a cultural entertainment artifact. So cultural entertainment artifact can be anything from a movie, a book, a TV show, something from streaming platform like Netflix or Hulu or HBO Max, whatever you stream, right? A video game, a music video, a song. And your task is to unearth the ideological work that said artifact does. All that means is what's the deeper meaning? What's the deeper takeaway? What's the deeper message in either the book, the movie, the music video, or the TV show episode that you chose? So this, you'll recognize this. This is from our discussion board. So what is the larger message, larger takeaway from your chosen artifact, right? How does your artifact reflect this? And why is that message so important, right? So what? And then any connections to real life. So that message that you've unearthed, how does it connect to real life, if at all? So the trick is to really choose something that you love, something that you think is awesome. I know right now, Squid Game, is it called Squid Game or Squid? I think Squid Game is really popular on Netflix. So here's the thing. If you're going to choose a series, you have to choose one episode. If you're going to choose a series of anything, you have to choose one episode. If you're going to choose, for example, I don't know, The Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, then choose one episode. If you're going to choose a music video, choose one music video. That's the way that you do it, to not overwhelm yourself, okay? So choose one episode, choose one music video, choose one book, choose one play, choose one cartoon episode, right? If you're going to choose Batman the Animated Series, choose one episode, okay? If you're going to do something on anime, I don't know, Naruto or One Piece, I don't know, choose one episode, okay? Dragon Ball Z, choose one episode, okay? So in other words, what you're doing is that you are unpacking from the surface level meaning, which is denotation, to deeper level meaning, which is connotation, which is how you are making moves to unearth what is the deeper, larger message or takeaway from the artifact that you are choosing. And remember, answer the so what question, which is what we have here, right? Why it's important. So something that works really well is a music video. The reason being because a music video is an intersection of both the lyrics of the song of the artist as well as visuals. So the visuals always work together with the lyrics themselves, and it's a really cool thing. So that's a good idea there. Okay. So here's just some examples of what some potential thinking could be. Like as you were taking notes, so basically for your culture artifact, whether you choose to continue with the Sneetches cartoon that you saw for the discussion board, or whether you choose to do it on an episode of Squid Game or a music video, have a sheet of paper and a pen and just write down things that you notice. Everything from colors to lyrics to maybe if it's a rap music video, whenever there's a rhyme, what's happening in the music video? Is it important? I don't know, just off the cuff, just write things that you notice. Then after that, just like we did with our in the textual analysis, the T-charts that we were doing, now you can consider the so what. You can consider the indirect suggestions, what they could are really implying, right? Another one is like maybe you're looking at how your plot ends of your chosen artifact, music video, TV show episode, anything. And what you have to remember about the way something ends, which is the resolution, is that it's a very important place in the plot arc, because the manner in which a conflict is resolved is ultimately the takeaway that you as a viewer, as a reader, as a consumer of the artifact are left with, right? So the way something ends is the way something ends, hence the message that you're left with. So now that you've looked at the message that you're left with of whatever you're looking at, then think about, okay, what are the implications? When we say implications, all we mean is, so what? If this is the message that I'm left with, so what do I make of it? What do I make of this message? Do I agree with it? Is it problematic? Is it a good message? Is it a positive message? Does it directly benefit one particular group of people? Does it directly harm a particular group of people? You tell me. That's what we mean by implications. It's a so what. Some other guiding questions you can consider, if you'll recall from the textual analysis, is that characters are more than just characters. They represent ideas. They represent values. So what you can consider is, okay, who's the good guy, which is what the protagonist is? Who's the bad guy, which is what the antagonist is? What values does the good guy represent? What values does the bad guy represent? This happens a lot in superhero series. Like, usually the good guys, the superheroes, they stand for justice, they stand for peace, they stand for equality, they stand for fairness, right? And the antagonists, usually the villains, they stand for impulsive violence, they stand for just reckless aggression, they stand for vengeance, they stand for hate, they stand for anger, they stand for jealousy. They stand for vendettas. I don't know. You tell me. So once you look at that, you're like, okay, in this case, who is the figure being celebrated? Therefore, that has a lot to say about what the creator of the artifact is leaving you with, right? And that points you towards the larger message. Yeah, look about too if we know one group is, again, if one group is being benefited, another one's being vilified, like maybe you encounter something like, I'll tell you something, there have been some racist cartoons back in the day. If you were looking at one of those, you're like, wow, this is a horrible representation of African Americans or Native Americans or Asian Americans or whatever the case may be, right? So always consider, who's the group being celebrated, who's the group being vilified, how is that being done, and what's the deeper message of this? And is that deeper message problematic? Is it good? Is it noble? You tell me. So as long as you answer the so what question, that's the detail. I'm going to tell you the huge nuance in this paper. This assignment is not just an assignment like IMDb where it's like, tell me the summary of everything that happened in the movie The Lion King. Well, first there's a little cub called Simba who is the father, who is the son of a king called Mufasa. Oh, then after there's a jealous uncle called Scar. No. Like, so plot points, you talk about plot points, you talk about summary points just to support your thesis, right? In this case, your thesis has to, again, are you hearing me? Has to be grounded on analysis. In other words, some deeper level meaning that you unearth. Like, what's the greater takeaway? What's the greater message of what you chose? That is what should be your thesis. Your thesis should not be, here's what happens in the music video that I chose, the end, or here's what happens in the Squid Game TV episode that I chose. No, it's more than that. It's, here's the deeper message from the Black Mirror episode that I chose. Here's how the episode represents that deeper message. Here's why this deeper message matters. And here's why this deeper message even connects to real life. You see the distinction? Because if you just give me summary, that's already a low score. That's already a bad grade because that's not the assignment. The assignment is to tell me what's the deeper message, what's the deeper takeaway, and use the textual analysis capacities that we have been covering throughout this lesson. If you get stuck, remember, I'm always here to help. Please let me know if you ever want to set up a Zoom meeting. So minimum length requirements, at least 3.5 full pages. MLA, just like we've been doing. Distribution of, oh, you need a works cited page, absolutely. At the very least for the artifact that you're choosing, right? Points are the same. Essays 100, peer review workshop, which we're going to do for each essay, is 20. Having correct MLA and at works cited is 5 points. Okay, here are the dates for the assignment itself. Brainstorm due Sunday the 17th, the end of this module. Workshop is going to be due. You're going to post a rough draft by Thursday the 28th of October. Final draft would be due by November 7. So that is our prompt. Notice that here you have some anonymous student sample essays. Check those out to see what potential iterations of this assignment could be like. Here's the brainstorm, which is the one that is going to be due when? Yes, by the end of this module, by Sunday. So let's check out the assignment, the document itself. So you're going to download this, obviously. And as usual, you can choose whether to type in your answers or to print it out and just write out your responses in pen. So the first thing you're going to do, obviously here, so you can double click it. Sorry about that. There we go. You can double click it and write what your chosen artifact is. Let's pretend that you're going to do it on the Sneetches cartoon. Okay, then. The Sneetches cartoon. The Sneetches is a book, right? It's a card. It comes from a book, right? The Sneetches cartoon. Okay, so tell me what that is. And just like you did with the textual analysis, with the handout that we were doing, right? It's the same teacher. It's the same thing. Let's say you were noticing, I don't know, a particular lyric. I'll give you like insert lyric here. That's denotation. If you just tell me word for word what a lyric is or something that happens in the plot, that's denotation, because you haven't applied any deeper level thinking, which leads you to think, okay, what is this indirectly suggesting, right? Then, just like we did with the T-chart in our textual analysis handout, then think about, okay, this lyric is really pointing to XYZ, or is really bringing out this message. It's like hinting at this. It's a symbol for something that happened in real life, or I don't know. You tell me. Okay, so the chart's the same, just like we've been doing for the textual analysis. And if you want full credit, you have to do both the chart, tell me what your artifact is, and you need to have your working thesis. So create a working thesis. Take a look at the discussion board that you did for the Sneetches cartoon, because that's what you're going to have ultimately in your brainstorm. You're going to follow this that is highlighted, right? This is crucial. This is crucial. This is crucial. This is crucial. All right. So that is that. And I believe that is it for this week. Brainstorm. Yep, that is it for this week. If you have any questions, please let me know if you want to set up a Zoom meeting. Other than that, happy writing, and I wish you an awesome week.